2, 3, 4.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast, part of Full Press Radio. This is February the 2nd, Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day 2021. With you today is myself, Carl, and the musical Stevie Nick.
Did you see your shadow today, Carl?
No, it was.
Did the groundhog? I didn't even check.
You have to check your local groundhog. It's not any groundhog.
There's just like millions of groundhogs.
Calgary's local groundhog, Balzac Billy, did not see his shadow today. It's an overcast day here, which I believe means 6 more weeks of winter.
Well, I didn't see my shadow because I sat my fat butt in front of my computer and didn't leave the house all day.
I think that means, if you didn't see your shadow, I think that means 6 more months of lockdown, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I'm the Toronto groundhog.
Yes. Well, happy Groundhog Day to those who celebrate. Could you imagine, what would a life be where you celebrate Groundhog Day?
A non-COVID life, the whole fam gets together, you have some lavish dinner, basically Christmas, but a month later.
Yeah. But like themed food. So like it's all animal themed. So like you got some pigs in a blanket. You've got, all ground meats. So a lot of sausage.
Can you eat groundhog?
You could eat some ground pork. It has to all be ground pork, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be a very pork specific meal. Bacon.
It never dawned on me. A groundhog is nothing like a pig.
To be honest with you, I don't know what a groundhog is. I don't know what it looks like.
It's like a giant gopher.
Okay, I know what a gopher looks like.
Yeah. So it looks nothing. That's nothing like a pig.
I'm worried we're treading back into that fish territory where I'm going to reveal some things about myself. It looks more like a squirrel than a pig.
Yeah. I am glad that we're not treading back into that fish territory, though.
Tortoise or porpoise? All right. What are we here for? Not to talk about groundhogs.
We are here, Nick. I do want to welcome you back. We're a day late, everyone. Sorry that we're coming to you a day late, but hey, we're here, and we're in waiting a day late. We got to have another NHL team suspend games because of COVID. So you're welcome. That's what we got for waiting another day.
We were at 2 yesterday, and now we're at 3.
Yeah. So what? Almost 10% of the league.
And two of those teams played against each other recently.
Almost like that's how it happened.
Yeah. How many players need to be on the COVID list before they start considering just shutting down games?
The New Jersey Devils currently have 14 players on their COVID protocol list. That seems like a lot.
Isn't that like 3/4 of an active roster?
Yes. What, you got 23 on an active roster?
Yeah. I mean, you'd think there's a threshold, right? But for Vegas, there wasn't that many players on the list, was there? It was the coaching staff.
Yeah. Vegas's coaching staff got them shut down. That was interesting because we saw their AHL coaches have to come in and coach. And
then they just decided it wasn't worth it. Let's just not have the games.
Like, you know what? We gotta move that. So, but they're thinking by this weekend, Vegas is going to be back up. They just suspended things for the Sabres today. And certainly with 14 players on the protocol list, the Devils are nowhere near being ready to go.
Listen to this tweet, okay? Buffalo is furious. They asked for more info from the league and from New Jersey on both Saturday and Sunday when Zajac and Palmieri went out, and they didn't get it. So they asked, hey, is this COVID related? And they didn't get the information that they wanted, and now they have to sit out because they have to undergo COVID protocols.
Yeah, because they've got, so players on that list include Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
Rasmus Ristolainen.
Yep.
I believe Jack Eichel's now on the list as well. So like essentially that, I mean, did I watch the Devils Jersey game?
I think you watched a Saturday game.
That's who they played Saturday, right?
And Sunday.
Yeah. So I watched the Saturday game, and that was essentially, I mean, I remember that line being like, that's their OT line. That's a line that rolled a ton. So definitely those folks in it, and because of that game. So this is the first instance that we've seen in the NHL where it's crossed over from one game to the other, or from one team to the other in game.
I'm actually shocked that there are teams who have players on the COVID list, like regular roster players, and that didn't affect the greater team. Like the Red Wings have like 5 or 6 guys on the COVID list.
And they're still playing.
And the team is still playing, yeah.
Yeah. So we've got them out. We have the Devils. So now we have 2 teams in that division. We had Vegas out in the West. We've had Dallas in the Central, Carolina in the Central. The Northern Division, the only one as of yet without any COVID issues.
Yep. Don't know what to say about that.
I mean, I think
something's working.
Something is, I mean, or it's just a matter of time, which is to me what, I mean,
yeah,
because it's working until it's not.
Yeah. Right? It's more likely the latter, I think, as you get deeper into the season and you're moving players up and down between the AHL and NHL and making trades and crossing borders. I think that's where it's going to get a little iffy for them.
Yeah. Speaking of trades and crossing borders, Patrick Laine makes his Blue Jackets debut tonight. So that'll be something that I'll be tuning in for.
Man, you know what I was thinking about today, actually? I was like, I'm jonesing for a good NHL trade. It's been 2 weeks. These guys haven't even played their first game, and I'm on to the next one.
Well, hey, we might get another one. There's the rumor mill is a swirling of another trade down the pipe. So we'll get to that, though. We'll get to that. Jim Rutherford, GM of the Pittsburgh Penguins, resigns this week. Somewhat unexpectedly.
Resigns? It sounded more like a mutual agreement.
I think that would be an accurate way to describe that.
That's how it came across to me. I'm still not clear on what the reason is.
I mean, I've seen a variety of speculations out there. Nothing that has come up, but
mostly rumors, though, right?
Mostly rumors. Yeah, nothing based on any solid facts. But definitely, I mean, a GM that's won multiple Stanley Cups with Pittsburgh. The last few years, I think just trying to hold on to what he had, though.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of the first thing that ran through my head was probably not the worst thing for the Penguins. Look, this guy's had a heck of a career, and he built an amazing team that won back-to-back Stanley Cups and that continue to contend. But these made some questionable moves over the last few years in the vein of keeping them contenders that I don't know if those moves accomplished that.
But so this is what's interesting. So they haven't named a full-time replacement for him yet, right? Interim GM in there. But one of the rumors that was circulating of why, and again, no reason to believe this, but was that he wanted to pull off a large trade for one of the more core pieces on the team, moving them out. And that management stepped in and said, no, you're not allowed to do that. So I think that would be interesting because that is, if that is true, entirely against what we've seen Jim Rutherford do through the last number of years.
The guy never shied away from a big trade, though.
That's true.
You can always count on him and Mark Bergevin to really shake things up.
Yes. I mean, offer sheets for him, big trades. There was a trade deadline never went through without Pittsburgh making a deal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how TSN knew it was trade deadline day. Because otherwise it'd be just silence for hours.
Exactly. But here, I mean, the Penguins had a top D pairing with one of them being Pierre-Olivier Joseph, player. Have you heard of him before?
Never.
Yeah. 2017, 23rd overall pick to the Coyotes. I mean, potential, but when that's who you're rolling out there, certainly some changes afoot in Pittsburgh. And we'll be looking at that, seeing what that new GM does, what his kind of approach is. But I would be surprised to see a full-time replacement anytime soon.
I think this year, with the way the season is, how short it is, how weird it is, it's probably not a good idea to make long-term decisions right now anyways. Get this season out of the way, get into the off season, focus on the next full year and beyond that.
I think in general, that's like a good 2021 motto. Don't make any long-term decisions this year.
Yeah, you're right.
That tattoo you've been thinking about? Wait. Just wait. You can get it that next year. It'll be fine. What else happened this week? We got our first suspension in the NHL of the season.
Yeah, from a guy that you probably wouldn't expect it from.
Yeah, I mean, I think a guy named Kevin certainly wouldn't be. You'd be like, all right, name me some guys that you think would get it. I'd be like a Mark seems like that could be, but Kevin Fiala of the Minnesota Wild brings home the first suspension of the year. A completely unnecessary hit from behind against the LA Kings. 3 games fitting for that?
I thought 3 games was enough for this. And I'll tell you why. 1, he was given a 5-minute major and a game misconduct. I believe the hit happened in the second period. So he got quite the penalty in that game already.
So essentially half a game suspension.
Half a game. He is not a repeat offender. I don't think of him as a dirty player or as somebody who should be punished and isn't. So yeah, I think, for a first time offender, the hit was nasty though. I'll give him that. It was right to the numbers. It was
the easiest decision for the NHL for this to be the suspension. Like the Tyler Myers one a few weeks ago, they didn't suspend him and they put out that video explaining why. I maybe would have suspended him, but I'm real itchy on the suspension trigger as it is. This one, they didn't have to, there was no questioning it.
Yeah, it was a pretty easy one. And you see it as soon as you saw, I watched you watch the hit today and it's immediate. Oh yeah, you can't not suspend that.
Yeah.
Same reaction I had.
Yeah. And easy call for the refs in game, easy call for the NHL doing it. I think 3 games is probably fine, mostly because of that repeat offender that you mentioned, right? Let's play our game. As I mentioned, Kevin being the thing, I pulled up some of his stats. Let's play the game. Where's that guy from? Kevin Fiala is from where?
Fiala is from the United States of America.
Wrong.
Oh, okay. Do I get another guess?
Sure. If you are closer, I'll give you a third guess.
Okay. Fiala. Czech Republic.
Ooh, we're coming in red hot. His parents are Czech.
Okay.
He was not born in the Czech Republic. You get one more guess.
Oh, man. Slovakia?
Switzerland.
Oh, really?
Swiss native Kevin Fiala.
That's cool.
So there we go. We've got, and he played on the Swiss national team, so that would be, without thinking, probably the best Swiss player in the league right now.
I was just going to say, there's not enough Swiss players in the NHL.
When he comes back from the suspension, right now he's not in the NHL, but when he comes back, one of the better Swiss players in the league.
Yeah, I would agree. Side note, I miss Brendan Shanahan and his videos.
Yeah, those were way better than, what's his face doing them now?
I don't even know who's doing them, but I really like his summary. He's like, in summary, this is boarding. Okay.
He really laid it out. I mean, it's nice. We don't need to see the person who does them, because it's like, I'm not sure if it's George Peros still doing them.
I think he's running it. Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Again, I can't voice check George Peros. You're right. But we never had to question it with Shanny because he always put himself on camera.
Just loved it. He's such a stiff guy. It's not like he's a natural in front of the camera.
No smiles for him.
Oh, so good.
All right. We have an interesting situation happening in New York.
Probably like the highlight of the news cycle this week.
This was a big one. The New York Rangers have, and this was the potential trade that's coming, because there's talk that it's on its way. Tony DeAngelo was put on waivers by the New York Rangers this week after signing a, sizable bridge deal in the offseason, $4.5 million deal for him on waivers. What do we know about this waiver situation? Because he put up big numbers last year and cleared waivers.
Yeah. So, the story starts small and it snowballs. So he was put on waivers earlier this week, and the rumor mill started swirling because the coach wouldn't comment on why he was being removed from the roster. And then the rumor was he got into an altercation with another player, one of his teammates, in the tunnel back to the dressing room. And then it was revealed that it was the goalie, I believe it was Alexander Georgiev, that they had gotten into an argument about how the overtime goal that was just scored had transpired against them. And those two got into some fisticuffs in the hallway back to the locker room. And that kind of prompted the team to put him on waivers. He's not the kind of guy we want in the locker room, yada, yada, yada. Since that came out, there's been a bunch of other stories that came out about him, some published by a popular fan blog for the Rangers called Blue Shirt Banter, I believe.
Yeah, it's a SB Nation blog.
Yes,
yeah.
And they had sources telling them that a story about how Tony DeAngelo took the puck that K'Andre Miller scored his first goal with and withheld it from him. And I don't know whether people know or not, but one of an NHL tradition is that when a player scores his first goal, he gets the game puck for that goal, and the team trainers wrap tape around it and write the date, and he gets a nice picture with it. And anyways, so the story goes, DeAngelo took this puck and refused to give it to K'Andre Miller, further dividing that locker room against DeAngelo. Since then, so that article prompted the New York Rangers management team to schedule a press conference and claim that all of it was a lie. None of it is true. This is Jeff Gordon, the GM, and the coach, Quinn, I believe is his last name.
Yeah.
We're sitting at a press conference, David Quinn, thank you. And vehemently denied all of these allegations of taking the puck. Meanwhile, Tony DeAngelo clears waivers. So that happened. And now there's rumors coming out that there's like 15 teams interested in trading for him. And that takes us to today.
Which makes me think like they don't want him for that price, but there is a price that they're willing to have him for, right? So I see if there is a trade, I assume that will be some sort of Rangers retaining salary, or a pick goes back the other way, some sort of other thing going with DeAngelo.
Yeah, and it is worth mentioning the Rangers did say that they tried to move him before putting him on waivers and were unsuccessful in doing so. So, yeah, as you said, Carl, that tells us that teams don't want him at that 4.8 million, 3.7 million, whatever it is, the cap hit.
Yeah. And we have that. The Rangers also in that press conference did mention that he has played his last game for the team. So they blatantly said he's done, which, I mean, all of this smells of a team trying to save face in any way possible. But also, it seems an odd choice to then go around and say, also, he's done playing for us. Like, you've now tanked trade value for him. And when you're just like, well, he's done, we have to move him, or we're just going to pay him to sit. It just seems like an interesting choice from that perspective. Either just, I mean, openly say the things that have happened, because whatever has happened, right? The team itself has not confirmed any of this.
Yeah.
They did not put Tony DeAngelo, 53-point defenseman from last season, on waivers for performance reasons. Sure. Did he have some bad looks early at the start of the year? Yes. Did people ride him pretty hard for those because of some of his viewpoints and thoughts and stuff? Absolutely. But he was not a player that performance-wise should be unclaimed on waivers.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And this is a player that the team has repeatedly had conversations with about his off-ice conduct and comments, and it doesn't seem to be getting better. And to the team's credit, at some point you got to draw the line. And they probably waited too long because it's infected the other players on the team at this point. Like, if it's starting fist fights, that's pretty bad.
And like, not even a practice fight. Like, those happen and you can kind of like excuse it, but like a disagreement that escalates into that after a game. Come on.
That's pretty bad. So I don't know. I think it's funny how now that it's coming out, how many teams are claiming to have interest, or the media is claiming how many teams have interest. Because if it doesn't work in the Rangers locker room, why do other teams think it's going to work in theirs?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm a fan of a team, I'm not super pumped about bringing him in. I don't want whatever it was, right? Whatever it was that led to this. There's no reason that he's shown publicly that it wouldn't happen again.
Yeah. If I'm a player on a team, I wouldn't want management to go and get him. Oh, he's going to blame the goalie for the overtime goal. Like, that's not the kind of stuff that you want. No, hardly. So it'll be really interesting to see how it shakes out.
Yeah. So then, I mean, we'll have, there's talk that it's close. There's talk that this is going to be happening probably within the next couple of days. The longer he sits, the worse his value gets for the Rangers. So they're probably wanting to move him pretty quick. And, I guess whatever team's getting him wants him to show up soon too.
You gotta love seeing team management in panic mode, though, eh? Like, it's just full PR panic mode right now.
Yeah,
and it's all caused by a fan blog. It's my favorite part.
They're a big fan blog. They're well known, and but the fact that you have to hold a press conference to deny those things, what kind of things should we start? Do we want, if you could make any press conference happen because of something we've said on the show, it might be that groundhog topic at the beginning.
No, let's not have any prompted press conferences because of my ignorance about obscure animals.
A groundhog is far from obscure.
Carl, you're not going to the zoo and seeing a groundhog.
I would absolutely go to the zoo and see a tortoise.
Okay. See, this is where I didn't want to go tonight.
Well, here we are. Anyways, if there was an NHL team that was called the something tortoises, you know that they would have to have a press conference because of this show.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there'd just be mass confusion about, are they a fish or a turtle? Right. Wait, what one did you say, tortoise or porpoise?
Tortoise.
Okay, they're turtles.
Yes. Okay, you figured it out.
Yeah, I learned.
I like it. I appreciate that about you. All right. Let's take a break right here. We'll be back on the other side with Nick's Lidstrom and the Elimination Station.
Elimination Station.
Welcome back. It is time for everyone's favorite segment where we get to eliminate a team from the playoffs, the Elimination Station. This week is our second foray in. We have one team gone. Last week, we eliminated the Ottawa Senators from the playoffs after Nick made a strong case that his Red Wings should not be the ones eliminated as the worst team in the league, the team least likely to make the playoffs. Do you have a similar plea this week?
Hold on. I'm looking at the standings. Have the Senators even collected a point since we talked about this last week?
No.
I don't think they have.
Since last week, they lost. Here's what the Senators did. They lost 7-1, 5-1, 4-1, and 8-5.
So I guess Matt Murray's not the guy, eh?
Matt Murray, I mean, no one on that team seems to be the guy. Matt Murray came in relief against the Oilers and gave up 3 goals. What did he do against the Canucks? Against the Canucks, he only gave up 4 in one game. In another game, he gave up 7. They left him in for all 7 goals that game. Never pulled him. I appreciate that about them.
Brutal.
And then Hoberg started the other one. So in 3 games, 3 and a bit game, I guess 2 and a bit games, Matt Murray gave up 15 goals.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah. It's not looking great for the Ottawa Senators this year. And you know what? I said last week that I thought that it shouldn't be them. I take it back. They should have been the first team out.
Well, yeah, I agree. Especially after this week, I agree. They should have been the first team out. Now, the Detroit Red Wings also haven't won a game since we talked last week.
I was going to say, they got 2 points though this week.
Yeah, they went to overtime twice, but did not win a game. I think they're on like a 6-game losing streak or something.
They have not won a game since Pierre-Luc Dubois was still a Blue Jacket.
Yeah.
Because it was against the Blue Jackets was their last win. That's why it was a relevant thing to say. I'm not just randomly picking time frames. Like, it was, I now refer to that to everyone. It's before Pierre-Luc Dubois and after Pierre-Luc Dubois. It's a very arbitrary. BPLD? BPLD.
That took me way too long to figure out.
And APLD.
And APLD. So, since APLD, the Detroit Red Wings have yet to win a game. They are a minus 15 goal differential. Not as bad as Ottawa, but second worst in the league by kind of a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Their power play is like 11 or 12%. They're much better 5-on-5. And they just can't seem to close out a game. They are keeping it close, but they can't seem to close out a game. They are still my pick to go into the Elimination Station.
Because 2 of them were in overtime, so obviously those were 1-goal games. The third one, also a 1-goal loss.
Yep.
I agree. Red Wings, welcome to the Elimination Station. Which then begs the question, I guess first up, they're in the Central Division?
They're in the, I don't know. I don't think it's called that, Carl.
No, it is. Yeah, they're in the Central.
No, they're in the Discover Central.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the Discover Central Division.
Okay. Or the Central Division presented by Discover Cards.
Yeah. Discover paid a lot of money for those rights, so we got to make sure that we
Well, the app that I'm using does not call it the Discover Central. It's just Central. So I think that's only for the sake of broadcast. And even then, I don't think it works.
No, even the broadcasters won't say it sometimes. They're like, this is dumb. I'm not saying that.
So there we go. Welcome to the Elimination Station Red Wings, the first team in the Central Division eliminated from the playoffs.
I'm still going to watch.
You're not going to... Are you still going to wager on them?
You know what? Last week I said, no, I'm done with this. And then I did it again and I lost more money. So right now I'm still mad. I'm saying no, but we'll see how I feel tomorrow before the game starts.
I mean, I had, I lost $20 in that Florida loss in overtime, which again, I probably shouldn't bet on a team that hasn't won APLD.
I told you not to bet on the Red Wings, and you did it. And I was like, wow, you gave me confidence. I was like, if Carl thinks they can do it, then, Carl's a smart guy. They can do it. So then I put money down on them.
Hey, we were close, right?
It kept it interesting. That's for sure.
All it took was some guy scoring his first NHL goal in overtime. Was the only thing standing between them and a victory.
Some guy. Anyways,
what did stand out to me was how miserable they looked in overtime that game.
The Red Wings?
The Red Wings.
Yeah.
It's not great. How is that great Bobby Ryan line doing? Are they still hot or have they?
No, the lines have been juggled. Bobby Ryan's gone a little cold. He hasn't scored, but he's been noticeable. He's one of their most noticeable players for sure.
Okay. That's good.
You know who's been invisible?
Michael Rasmussen.
Yeah,
Anthony Mantha.
On like the fourth line. There you go.
Yeah.
He's been a disappointment so far this year.
Yeah. I know your stance on your Mantha Stantha. And
what does that even mean?
It's like the stance, but I have to make it rhyme.
Yeah, I was very excited for him, and he's been just kind of okay. And you know who else? Same with Philip Hronik, who is a highly touted young defenseman who's come in, and he's just kind of been okay. He hasn't really looked good at all.
Yeah.
So, there's some big names that this team was counting on that are not performing. And they're forcing the coaching staff to play Val Filppula like 15 minutes a night.
Which, not what you want.
Nobody wants that. No, none of the 31 teams want that.
No. I mean, some of them want that.
The ones who are playing against the Red Wings.
Yeah, exactly. A few of them want that. Well, that's not good. So what do the Red Wings got to do? That's our point here now. What do the Red Wings have to do to get back to the playoffs?
They gave the keys to Stevie. Now we just got to let him drive. Stevie, put the car in manual, hit the gas, and take us home.
That was an appropriately timed notification.
Did you hear that?
Was that Stevie telling you to pump the brakes on the analogy?
Yeah.
It was like, Nick, I can hear you.
Stevie stop. Yeah. Now I know he has my place bugged. No, I mean they got some good players, young prospects in the pipeline who are going to take a couple years to develop. They're going to pick high again this year. That's a good thing. They need to fix their special teams. Both their power play and penalty kill are abysmal. So that's one thing that I'm not super critical of these coaches because look what they have to work with. But that is one thing that I put on them. They got to figure out these special teams because this team is not even gaining the zone on the power play.
No, it's embarrassing. I was gonna say embarrassing. I stopped myself, but it is. It's bad.
It's really bad. So they have to get rid of this drop pass, figure out a new way to play with the man advantage. Because they're 5-on-5. Look, it hasn't been great, but it's the Red Wings. Like it's been okay, but the power play is killing them.
And if you have an okay enough power play, they win some of those games with
absolutely
a better power play, right? You get 1 or 2 goals in a 1 or 2 goal game.
Absolutely. When you're playing the Stars and you go something like 0 for 4 on the power play, like how are you going to beat this team if you're not going to score when they're giving you the leg up?
Yeah, they're giving you those. And I mean, teams are much less afraid to take those liberties with you when they know that they don't have to worry about you on power play.
Yeah. So anyways,
how long do you think the coaching staff lasts? Like, especially like head coach.
I think he'll make it through the season. I believe his contract's up this year. I could be wrong, but I think he'll stick around for the season, and then they'll probably start fresh next year with somebody new whose name rhymes with Gerard Malott.
It's a good one to bring in. And I think if they were going to get rid of him, they know what Blashill gives them right now. They knew going into this year what he gives them. This is not a surprise. And this performance, like you said, not entirely on the coaching staff. It doesn't make sense to fire him partway through the year.
Not at this point. Like, what are you bringing in a new coach for at this point? I think the young guys like Blashill. Let him continue their development. Next year, you're going to get a whack of new players who are going to make a big impact. Guys like Joe Veleno and Moritz Seider, maybe Jonathan Berggren, Michael Rasmussen likely cracks the lineup full time. Like there's going to be an influx of young, raw talent. That's probably an appropriate time to bring in somebody new because now you're starting to build a new core of players.
Yeah. And some more of those contracts that have been anchors for this Red Wings team are disappearing. You've got one more year of Thomas Greiss, which is going to be nice.
It's been nice this year.
Yeah, I mean, still enjoying the Greiss train?
I mean, no, but it's better than the Howard train.
Oof, no doubt. Not much got worse than the Jimmy Howard train there at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at this Red Wings team, Stahl's gone next year, Nemeth is gone next year, Helm, Lipula, Glendening, and Bobby Ryan, all UFAs next season, and not too bad.
This is why I think Steve Yzerman's done a great job. He signed most of these contracts, kept them all short term, low cap hit. He knew there's going to be a huge turnover in a couple of years when they're going to have this influx of new talent. And now he's got cap space to work with. Hey, we have all these young, great hockey players. Let's go get some free agents now.
Absolutely. All right, let's flip the script then. Let's turn to actually the team that the Red Wings played against this week. Let's go to Nick's Lidstrom.
I mean, what words can you use to describe 10-time first-team All-Star, 2-time second-team All-Star, 7 Norris trophies, Conn Smythe Trophy, attention to detail, come to the rink every day, he was the best player in practice. Nick's no maintenance. It's about class.
The Dallas Stars. Did you enjoy watching that? A lot of things happened with Dallas this week that were fun.
It was good. Yeah. Hit us with some highlights of the Dallas Stars week that was.
The jerseys.
Those jerseys. We got our first, across the league, we got our first look at some of these retro reverse jerseys. And Dallas
what did you think?
Something to see.
It's hard to miss.
Those bright, it actually looked, you and I had very almost the opposite opinions, because I thought they looked like less bright than I was expecting, because in those pictures and the videos they looked like make it look like it was like coming out,
because it was all in the dark and the lights were flashing.
Yeah, you put it on the ice and like it doesn't look great, but it was whatever.
I thought they looked bad.
There's definitely some that did look bad. Those wild ones, that logo should not be yellow and green. there's a lot of textures and layers to that logo. They need some contrasting colors.
Yeah, a lot of these jerseys feel like they were just trying too hard to do something different.
I turned on the Leafs Oilers game. I don't know if you saw that one.
I did.
I did not know who was playing. Like, what is on my television? It says Toronto and Edmonton, but those cannot be what the Leafs came up with.
They look bad, eh?
They looked terrible.
Yeah, it looked like they were a practice squad of some sort.
It looked like in the upcoming Mighty Ducks series, a jersey that the bad team in the league would wear.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, those were not good.
Compared to Edmonton's red pants and jerseys. They looked very red on my TV.
On mine, they looked a burnt orange, I would say. But they looked, I mean, those I at least could tell were the Oilers, and I could see what it said on them. Those Toronto jerseys, I couldn't even see the numbers. I could not imagine having to do like play-by-play for that game.
They screwed up a couple times.
Yeah. It was incredibly difficult because you could not tell those numbers.
I agree. They just looked so bad. I couldn't do it. Is that the game that McDavid scored that amazing goal?
I mean, this
from end to end?
You have to be specific this week with McDavid and amazing goals. But yes, he did score. That one was against Toronto this week, yeah.
And that was also the game of the overtime goal. Man, McDavid is a good hockey player.
And I think he's at that point where like he's not getting enough credit again. The pendulum like continues to swing for me on McDavid. I'm like, yeah, he's fine. And then he does stuff like that. And I'm like, oh no, he's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, that stuff is just unbelievable watching him. Like, the Leafs are widely regarded as the best team in that division. And he just casually skated through their entire line of players. Like he was just like that guy in beer league who played a game or two of junior and just skates circles around everybody. Yeah. That's what it looked like to me.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
And those are pros, like good pros.
On the best team in the division.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case then. So we have put so far, for Nick's Lidstrom, we do the opposite of the Elimination Station. We lock a team into the playoffs and say that they are in. That also becomes our team that we focus on. Next week around, we come back and we talk about them. So far, though, all we talked about Dallas was the jerseys. What else happened with the Dallas Stars this week?
So they went 2-1-1, I believe was their record this week. I do have it up here. 2-1-1. They started off the season hot, right? With 2 big wins over the Predators. And then we came in with Nick Lidstrom. We saw them win twice against the Red Wings. Another 7-goal outing against the Red Wings. The first game of the season, they won 7-0. Against Detroit, they won 7-3. Then they lost to the Carolina Hurricanes 4-1. And then they lost in a shootout. Yeah. I always get shootout, shutout mixed up in my head. They lost 4-3.
I mean, never mind. Continue.
But Carolina so far is the only team that's put up more than 3 goals on them.
Yeah, well, and Carolina is the only bona fide playoff team that they've played against, and they lost both of those games. So they played Nashville and looked really good against them, looked equally good against Detroit, and then lost both against Carolina. So, I mean, the Stars team is good. Don't get me wrong. They got Jamie Benn back. Tonight is our, I believe, 315th episode. Jamie Benn did get off of it. He has his 301st goal in the NHL. What do you think? Is he going to catch us?
And not this season.
I don't think so.
Not this season. Probably never.
I mean, I think as soon as we stop this show, we'll see if Jamie Benn can catch us.
We're far enough ahead right now that it's just a matter of how long we want to keep this going for.
I mean, because we're putting out 50 a season. Like,
yeah.
Every year we put out 50. Is Jamie Benn putting up 50 goals a year?
Not anymore.
No.
Never, I don't think.
No. I mean, Jamie Benn was never going to catch us, and he never will. No matter if we end it at the end of this year. Maybe. Here I am saying Jamie Benn's only going to score another 30 goals. Okay. But it feels good.
But they got him back. 2 goals, 2 points in 2 games.
Yeah. I mean, great to have him back. Definitely ready to get going. And this team, I mean, they're still think they're a great playoff team, going to do well.
Yeah.
Let us right now, though, because we said we would hand out some prizes based on it. We do not. So if you are one of those that played this week, we're going to put all those names and all those points in a hat, and we are going to pick one of those for our prize this week. Let me see. Let me do our random draw. And what we are doing is we're actually going to send you, we'll get your address from you. We will send you some Fourth Line merch, but also an item from one of these teams. And the item that really stood out to me this week, we haven't, if you want something from Vegas, we'll send you something from them. But the item that really stood out to me was the commemorative Jamie Benn figurine, very much in line with this, so that Jamie Benn can know exactly where he stands. But let us know what you want. The winner this week is none other than Joe Martini. Congratulations, Joe. You are the winner of the first ever high-low sticking. There we go. So thanks, Joe. Thanks for playing. Thanks to everyone for playing. It's been fun getting back into the swing of things. We're going to pick a new team to go into that high-low sticking station now. What team do you think is in either, because we said we were going to go through one per division. We have not done a team in the East. And what's the sponsor of the East Division? Do you have it offhand here?
I don't.
That's good, because they didn't pay us to say their name. So
I navigated away from that page. So the East Division is the Mass Mutual.
Great. The East Division and the North Division.
That one's easy.
Yeah.
Scotia.
Which, we're not doing this. We're not. I'm not here to give these teams or these companies free money. Look, we've seen a lot of what these Fortune 500 companies are doing this last week, Nick. I'm not here to give them free advertising.
Yeah, unless they want to give us a cut. We want a cut.
We will gladly, we'll show whatever product you want on this show. Within reason.
Within reason.
But what we will not do is we will not give free advertising, especially, Nick, after years of us talking very kindly about a company that I will mention without them paying us to right now, ATB Financial, right? We talked for years about how great they were, and I still feel positively about them and their support that they gave this show for years. You think I'm going to turn around and promote a different bank for free? I got loyalty.
All right. I see now I've pushed a button.
So, the East and the North.
I think we should revisit this, though, because hear me out. The Tampa Bay Lightning.
What about them?
They play twice this week in games that I'm going to be watching, and they're definitely a playoff team.
Here's the thing. They're not even the best team in Florida in that division.
All right, well, I don't want to watch the Panthers, so let's go to the East.
Okay, I'm with. So here's the teams at the top of the East and the North. The East has the Flyers on top right now. It's got the Capitals. It's got the Bruins. It's got the Penguins. We're not picking the Devils and Sabres because they're not even playing this week. But picking a team in the East is going to be more difficult because those Sabres and Devils games will be obviously postponed for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, but there's a couple teams in the East that we know are comfortably playoff teams.
Yes. Which ones do you still label as comfortable playoff teams?
Probably the top 3. Now, in high sticking, we always had a rule about no Boston.
Correct.
I realize now, right in this moment, that at some point we're going to have to break that rule with this game. And I think we should put that off a little bit.
So here's one thing. The Sabres Bruins game this coming Saturday and Monday are postponed. So if we want, we will have to put them in, but this doesn't seem like a good week to highlight them.
Good. Let's watch the Philadelphia Flyers.
Okay. That's definitely a team. They're playing this week.
I know, but that means we're going to have to watch the Bruins.
We're watching the Bruins anyways. There we go. So Flyers play Bruins and Caps this week. They've had some very strong games. And then when they don't play well, they play incredibly not well. Like,
it's fun.
They definitely play fun hockey. I'm excited for it. The other team, I mean, it looks like next week we're moving to the North Division, and we know your thoughts on that North Division teams. So it looks like next week we can stay tuned for some Toronto Maple Leafs, perhaps.
Maybe. We'll see what the schedule looks like next week, but I think we should save the North as the last one.
Right, especially since we actually have to have a higher ratio of North teams going in there because there's 4 to 7 instead of 4 to 8.
That's true. That is true.
We've already eliminated the Senators, so there's only 6 teams left in that North Division. That's the other reason why we couldn't have done the Central. We just eliminated a Central team, and then for us to turn around and have 2 Central teams in the playoffs, we wouldn't talk about the Central at all the rest of the year.
I know, but we could have had Nick's Lidstrom go up against our Elimination Station.
You just look. I get that you just want to watch. Like when you pick these, I know last week. Look, this is what happened last week. Last week we sat here, and I was okay with the Dallas Stars, and then I saw the games that they were playing, and I was not okay with it. And then you said, "Nah, it's gonna be fine." And then I watched that game, the 7-1 game. And was not okay with that.
Did I apologize to you?
You did. You even did it publicly. You apologized, I believe, twice. You apologized via text and you apologized on Twitter.
I don't want to be the only one who suffers.
But then you tried to do it to me again this week. You literally look at the Red Wings schedule and say, who are they playing? Let's do them. You'd have just rolled through the entire Central Division.
Look, Carl, I'm not going to lie. When we created the segment, that was always going to be my plan. And then last week, you were like, whoa, we do 1 division per week. And completely just ruined my plan of making you watch the Red Wings every week.
That plan only works for 4 weeks. Once we put those 4 teams in the playoffs in the Central Division, we're done.
Yeah, but then we'd get to watch 4 weeks of Red Wings hockey. And they're the least sad weeks because they're the weeks that the teams' playoff hopes are still alive.
Yeah, I want to watch them late in the year when they've sold off some of these like pending free agents, and we get to see the rest of the roster.
No, you don't.
I want to watch the Red Wings taxi squad play.
No, you don't.
I mean, I guess we are watching the Red Wings taxi squad play right now. So
at the end of the year last year, I was watching games. I was like, I've never even heard that name before. Where did that guy come from? Just random players who they got in trade deadline deals.
So we've talked far too much about your Red Wings this episode.
Yeah, we did. I'm sorry.
Can we talk about the fact that Nathan MacKinnon is currently week to week with an injury?
I just saw that. Week to week is scarier than day to day.
Because we also have Devon Toews out week to week. Eric Johnson also out.
Yeah, Eric Johnson always seems to be out.
I know, Eric Johnson's always out. I think I said that in our season preview episode. I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. Bowen Byram can step into the lineup when Eric Johnson gets hurt. And look, Bowen Byram's in the lineup. And he's looked amazing.
Yeah, he looked really good, at least in the games that I've watched.
He's like it's very easy to compare him to Cale Makar because they're out there together sometimes. But boy, oh boy, is that ever fun. How about Francois is out? Pierre Belmar's out. The team is struggling with injuries right now and still managing to win, which is what you want to see.
Yeah, they're a cup contender, man.
It's fun. We had
Bonafide.
Brandon Sod's having a Avalanche coming out party. Nazem Kadri had a great weekend. But man,
so what happened to McKinnon?
Lower body. Not really saying a whole lot more than that other than lower body and week to week is not a combination that you really get excited about.
No, he better do his stretching.
I always do. That's because I'm old and not a professional athlete, though.
I don't think they care about your stretching routine.
With the listeners?
No, the Avalanche.
Oh, no. I could teach some of them if they wanted to know.
Just lead stretches at center ice.
Like, here's the thing. Like, I get that I'm now older than most of the roster on the Avalanche. I think of the guys actually currently on the team. I'm trying to think of if there is anyone. What Brandon Sod's probably is the oldest one, probably, and possibly the only one older than me. So it's either me or him who are teaching these young guys what you need to do to stretch. I don't want to brag. I went for a 16K walk on the weekend. Boy, oh boy, did I have to limber up after that.
Yeah, no kidding. Did you go skating too? Did I see you went skating?
Oh, yeah, that was good. That we went out on, we made the trip out to Lake Louise this week.
Oh, nice. Wasn't too cold?
No, it was great. We did get out there. They hadn't shoveled the ice yet. So they bring out the Bobcats and do the ice there.
Yeah.
Luckily, and this is full credit where credit's due. This was my wife's idea. We brought our own shovel, which is to show up to a lake with a shovel, to drive 2 hours with your own shovel. We were the only ones on the entire lake who brought a shovel though. So we shoveled ourselves off a little patch. We were able to pass the puck around a bit and, lent our shovel out, as one does when you're the only person on the lake with a shovel.
Very Canadian.
Yeah. So that's what someone said. Like, tell me you're Canadian without telling me you're Canadian. I brought a shovel to a lake so I could play hockey. That's how that works. But it was a great day. Amazing scenery when you've got the mountains in the background and great weather for it. So.
That's awesome. I'm dying to get out on ice somewhere.
What's the local rink situation, the old outdoor rink situation for you there?
I think that the city-run rinks, outdoor rinks, are open, but you have to schedule a time to go. I don't think there's any hockey happening. I think it's just skating, and you have to like pre-register to do it. Now, the community that I live in, the neighborhood that I live in, one of the schools lets kind of the community members build a rink every year in their schoolyard, and I saw that that's now open. So I'm going to try and get out in the evening sometime, so there's no kids there, and go for a little bit of a skate because I'm dying to get out on the ice.
Oh, it feels so good to be back out there. I literally live across the street from a rink that also you have to pre-book to use, and it is booked out weeks in advance.
Yeah, it's just packed, eh? Is it outdoors?
Yeah, outdoors.
Yeah.
And then like many places, at least here, they're like flooding almost anywhere that they can to turn it into a rink so that they can just give people extra space to be outside. One of the big parks, they just flooded a nice like half-kilometer stretch. There's a splash park in that area too. They flooded that. And so
that's nice.
Yeah. So it's nice that you can get out there, but they're big and booked up. So hopefully you can get out there.
Yes, sir.
That brings us to the end of our show. Remember, if you're playing high-low sticking, head on to Twitter at Fourth Line Podcast and join in. Let us know. We play over and unders for this. We're doing the Philadelphia Flyers this week, and they'll be getting started up, as Nick mentioned, against the Boston Bruins. They got games Wednesday, Friday against Boston, and then Sunday morning against the Washington Capitals. So a little bit of a light week for them. They get, some days off, which isn't too bad for those teams. Over under not currently listed for that game unless I go to a different site. We'll see. For Wednesday night, what do you think the over under would be for Flyers Bruins?
Oh, 4.5.
4.5. I would say 5.5 would be.
You go higher, eh?
I'd go higher, and it is 5.5.
It is, eh?
Yeah, it is also 5.5 for Wings Lightning. If you're feeling like the Lightning are also going to put up 7 against the Wings, maybe bet the over on that one.
Yeah, I'd always take the over against the Red Wings.
Sounds like a safe bet. All right, so head on over there. Let us know if you pick the over or under for those games, and you too could be the who knows what we're going to find for merch this week, but head on over, let us know what it is that you pick. You can find us at thefourthlinepodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Full Press Radio app, and Full Press Sports great site over there. Lots of great writing, hockey and otherwise. Super Bowl weekend as well. That's why that hockey game is at 10 a.m. on Sunday, because there is a Super Bowl happening on Sundays.
Yeah, there you go. There's a lot of games Saturday because of that too.
Yeah, the NHL schedules are not always the greatest, but they know how to avoid the Super Bowl.
Well, is that it, Carl?
Time for us to wrap up.
Another 4th line show. I know what you're thinking. You don't want us to go. APLD, the Red Wings haven't won, but PBPLD, they were still kind of fun.